This is a manual for acolytes: what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Thanks for being an acolyte. This video will help you remember what to do. Acolyte means helper. We know that Samuel helped the priest Eli in the temple even when he was very young. We do things to worship God, and we call those reminders symbols. The cross reminds us to follow Jesus, candles remind us we need God's light, and the Bible reminds us that God can talk to us through its words. It's also practical to have helpers, and acolytes are helpers. They help get things ready for communion and help the ushers with the offering. Some things to remember: when you're serving, be on time, pay attention, and participate. God doesn't care about our clothes, but we dress nicely to show respect for other people in our church. So think about what you wear. Guys should wear pants, a nice shirt, socks, and shoes. Girls should wear a nice outfit and also wear appropriate socks or stockings and shoes. Hair should be neat, no matter how long or short it is. Check the calendar to see if you're on it. Your family gets this in the mail each month. Put your calendar up where you can see it. You can also check the calendar on the website if you don't have one in the mail. Pay attention to the reminders. Your parents will usually get an email or a phone call to remind you that you're an acolyte. If you know you're on, remind your parents to get you to church early that Sunday. You can always check the calendar on the web. Be on time and you will be ready. Call us if you're absent, and most of all, have fun. When you get to church, you need to find a robe. Most of our robes have a number on the tag. Pick a robe with a number that's the same as your age, either one size up or one size down if it's too small or too large. Ask an adult for help if you need help. We wear belts, or they're called cinctures. It's a rope belt, and you tie it with a knot on the right side of your body. The older adults and acolytes can help you learn some helpful knots. The priest or older acolyte will tell you what you're going to do that Sunday, whether you're going to carry the cross or the torch or the gospel book. The cross person is always the team captain that Sunday. We light the candle lighters in the back room. An acolyte or an adult will light the match or lighter, while the two acolytes who are going to light the candles hold the wicks of the candle lighters up. Once they're lit, you walk slowly out into the church to light the candles. Going to the church through the sacristy doors, go to the middle, bow towards the cross, and then light the candles on the altar first. Try to stay together with your partner. Then light the ones behind by lighting the ones in the middle first, and then work your way out to the edge. If the big Paschal candle or Advent wreath is there, you light that first, and then light the other candles in the normal way. You light the altar candles first, and then light the candles, the middle first, and work your way out to the edge, just like the picture shows. Try to stay even with your partner. Once you're done lighting, pull the knob down to make the wick go back into the tube, and that'll put out the candle lighter. Get help from an adult if it won't go out. Do this before you walk back away from the altar. After the candles are lit and you've put your candle lighter away, go get the torches. Meet at the middle in front of the altar and bow before going to the back. The crucifer, the person who carries the cross, should already be in the back. Find the cross in the narthex, which is the entryway. If it isn't there, then go up front, get it, bow, and then come down the left aisle. Torch bearers, when you're getting the torches, meet in the middle, then come down the left side behind the piano all the way back to the entryway. We will light them back there before church. In the back, ask an adult or a senior acolyte to light your torch, then get ready to process and walk in. The crucifer goes into the middle of the center aisle, just past the balcony. When the choir starts singing, the crucifer lifts the cross, holding one hand on either side. We process when the singing starts. Go down the aisle slowly. The torches should stay together side by side behind the cross. Go all the way inside the altar rail. Stop. Wait for the crucifer to bow their head and move. Then go put the torches into their stands. The cross goes into its stand. The cross goes into the bottom cup and then gets latched on. Now that you're in church, you should worship. Stand up to sing, stand up for the creed, and at the beginning of communion, and whenever the priest asks us to stand. Use the hymn book or the music that's in our bulletin. Kneel when you pray and make sure that you have a prayer book or a service book. Sit when we read and listen to the sermon and the announcements. When we do the gospel procession, the torchbearers get the torches and the crucifer gets the cross. The priest will remind you when this is. The book carrier gets the gospel book. The cross stands in the middle facing the altar until the book carrier nods. Then all turn and go down the middle of the center aisle. The cross leads. The crucifer stops at the fourth pew from the front. Set the base of the cross on the floor. The torches stay in front of the cross, and the book holder gets in between, just like the next pictures show. The cross is on the floor, and the torches are set down on the floor. The reader opens the book for the person reading the gospel. The torches should be on either side to give light to the book. After the gospel is read, the priest and the book reader will step aside. Then the cross goes first, followed by the torches, and last the gospel book. The cross goes first, the torches let the cross through and then follow. The book carrier follows the torches, then the gospel reader, usually the priest, goes behind the torches. The cross goes back into its place, the torches go back in their stands, and the book goes back on the altar. Then everybody goes back to their seats until the offertory. After the sermon, the creed, the prayers, and the announcements come the offertory, when we offer ourselves and our gifts to God. When the choir is singing, after the priest reads an offertory sentence, the senior acolyte gives the collection plates to one of the younger acolytes. This person should go stand to the side of the center aisle like this. The other torchbearer should come over and stand on the other side to help them lock the gate. Once the ushers leave with the plates, then you close and lock the altar rail gate. As soon as the hymn is ended and we start to sing Praise God from whom all blessings flow, take the large collection plate and meet the ushers. They will put the smaller plates into the big plate. Then you come up and stand right in the middle in front of the priest. Stand in front of the priest at the altar, lift the plates up high until the priest tells you to set them down. The priest will nod at you when it is time to go. Take the plates to the small table where they came from. This is called the credence table. When the acolyte who's taking the plates is down at the altar rail, the senior acolyte goes all the way up to the priest at the altar. They should bring the extra chalice, which is the cup, first. They should give it to the priest and then go back for the water pitcher. Bring the water pitcher all the way up to the priest. After bringing the water, stay at the altar. Once the priest is finished, they will hand you back the wine pitcher and the bread box. Put those back on the little credence table and then come back to the altar, this time with the washing bowl. It's called a lavabo bowl, and the towel. To do this properly, first put the small towel that's in the bowl over your left wrist if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, put the towel over your right wrist. Then put the bowl in your left hand if you're right-handed and your right hand if you're left-handed. Take the pitcher of water that the priest has left on the corner of the altar. Go all the way up to the priest, hold the bowl, and the priest will put his fingers over it. Pour water over his fingers until he or she says stop. This is called the ablutions or washing. Wait while the priest dries their hands with a towel. When they're done, they will bow to you. When the priest is done, go put the bowl, the towel, and the water back on the credence table. You will need the water again at the end of communion. Getting ready for communion. Be ready to stand up and hold out your hands to get communion when the priest comes to give it. Then sit down or kneel, but pay attention. You might need to help the priest or one of the other ministers get more bread or wine. Be ready to open the ombre, which is the wooden box where there's more blessed bread and wine. If the minister asks for bread, get out the bread container and take off the lid. The priest will take the whole thing or get some wafers out of it. The same with the wine. Near the end of the service, after this final blessing, the crucifer and torchbearers get their cross and torches and stand in the middle facing the altar and the priest. The priest will nod at you when it is time to turn and walk out. When you get to the back of the church entry, blow the torches out and then go in on the left aisle of the church and put the torches back in their holders. Then go and get the candle lighters and put out all the candles. Start with the altar candles and then the ones on the back shelf. Put the back ones out in the order in which you lit them. Start at the back from the outside in. Last, if there's a Paschal candle or Advent wreath, put those candles out. Then put the candle lighters away, take off your robe and rope and hang them up. Thanks for helping.